K9 Detection Collaborative, a detection dog training trio with Stacy Barnett.
Hi.
Robin Greubel.
Hey there.
And Crystal Wing.
What's up?
With humor and a big dose of theory, our trio talks practical training advice and features interviews with top trainers and scientists.
It's K9 Detection Collaborative.
Welcome to our show. I'm Crystal Wing, and I'm here with Stacy Barnett.
Hey, how are you?
Doing wonderful. Today we are chatting with Robin Greubel. She's our other co-host here on the K9 Detection Collaborative, and we're going to get right into this. Stacy, I'm going to let you ask the first question.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So thanks, Crystal. So we're doing these episodes, right, to try to get to know each other, or actually for you guys to get to know us. We know each other really well at this point. It's kind of scary.
Three Musketeers.
So we're going to let you into our level of oh God. Yeah. So the first question really, Robin, is this whole podcast, we kind of came up with the idea. We're like, hey, let's do this. But what does this mean to you? Why do you want to do this? Why is this an exciting project for you?
This is one of those exciting projects that sort of kind of evolved from, oh, hey, let's just do this, to, oh my gosh, this sounds like so much fun. Because mainly I get to talk to you guys about behavior and dogs. I mean, yay me. That's the equivalent of, oh my gosh, this is awesome fun. It's been really interesting to learn about how we all train and seeing the synergy that happens between the three of us when we have such separate backgrounds that have evolved in this kind of strange way to all of a sudden come together, and everything kind of just melded and said, oh my gosh, the chemistry is fun. Everybody kind of really knows their stuff. And we get to hopefully have a lot of fun together and hopefully bring a whole bunch of people with us on this kind of fun, quirky little journey that we're going to be on. So that was one of the reasons why I was like, podcast, because I need one more thing to do. But okay.
Absolutely. Like it's, when you start thinking about that, it's the whole collaborative aspect to it, right? So, right. I mean, your background, you've trained basically dogs to search for everything, right?
Not quite, but
it's everything from, live people, not so live people, things that blow up, things that, drugs, whatever.
Right.
Like that, they look for it all. And
I have to laugh. I played the trailer. I'm a high school art teacher, right? And I played the trailer for kids in class. And the first thing they said was, why are they bringing heroin? Are they okay? They couldn't hear anything after that. All they heard was heroin, and they were done.
High school, right?
High school, right?
Yeah.
So after that, they were like, okay, what kind of friends do you have?
I know, right?
Can I listen to this podcast, please? So now we're going to have a bunch of high school kids listening.
And I feel bad for people because people are like, well, especially, okay, where do you store all of the stuff that you train your dogs to find?
That's a great question.
Right. And I have a location on our property that is locked and secured and all sorts of things, but I have actually labeled freezers out there or refrigerators for, one's for human remains because we take that very seriously. And so it's double locked. Then I've got the other freezer or refrigerator that actually is where I store my narcotics and explosives. They're not real. They're odor soaks. A lot of what I do is I get from Precision Explosives. So it's not like they're real, like it's going to explode stuff, but it's real odor for the dogs.
So do you want to explain, for people who may not know what an odor soak is?
So what Precision Explosives does is they actually take some really cool technology, cellulosic technology, and they put it in with actual odor. So it's in with your TNT, your RDX, your heroin, your stuff like that. And that material soaks up all of those odor chemicals and hangs onto it, right? And then they package it in such a way that it's not going to explode and it's not illegal for me to have. And I don't need an extra DOT permit to transport around in my car. And if you store it in the refrigerator, it actually helps elongate how long you can keep the odor without having to replace it.
Right.
So I've got one refrigerator that below has the narcotics and the explosives in 3 different, each odor is in 3 sealed bags or 3 levels of containment, because that's how you're supposed to contain it. And then the freezer's got dead ducks in it and goat milk.
So what about like your steaks and stuff? Do you have
that's a totally different freezer, and all the food that we eat's in the house.
Okay, I was going to say you probably want to separate that, like have a big span of separation.
Yes, I have a big span of separation. It's one of those things where, we've got biohazard stickers on things, and that with the dead ducks and the dead pheasant, and so that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You got a dog food freezer too, right? So there's
yes, I do have
so many freezers.
Yeah, I have a dog food freezer as well. So
I'm trying to count here. So you've got human remains, you've got the drugs and explosives, you've got the ducks, you've got the dog food, and then you've got dinner.
And then and then I have dinner, but the dinner one is in the house.
Okay. So that's 5 freezers.
So I'm going to point out there, you said one more thing to do. Don't you have one that's like from the processing from your cattle farm too?
Yeah, that one's in the house as well. Cause we also, so I live on a farm and we have red Angus and belted Galloway cattle. So in my spare time, I help my husband with our herd of cattle and sell freezer beef and stuff like that. So Dog Day Acres Land and Cattle Company is the name of our actual farm. And so that's where we sell freezer beef and stuff through. So that's the other thing that I was just out today, taking bulls out of the lot with the cows. So you get to learn some really interesting behavior technology stuff when you have, 12,000 pound animals that you need to move in certain locations. And that with just a toss of their heads, you could end up. So you learn a lot of positive reinforcement with corn.
Maybe you want to talk a little bit about like the chores. It was really interesting when I visited you and we went out to do chores. So I was there and I just like, chores, what are we doing? Right. And I got on this mule, not a real, like with long ears, but
a UTV mule. Yes.
The UTV,
not a mule with big ears mule. Yeah.
And it was so cool. Maybe you want to describe kind of like how that behavior with the corn and the bulls, like it's very different than like the what you see on TV with the cowboys and riding the horses and the yah bull and whatever.
Right. So we bucket train all of our cows. So it's kind of like teaching your dog to come, only, you've got a 1,500 pound animal you're running at you. Who's like, oh my God, I want to stick my head into a 5-gallon bucket because you have corn. But you can very easily train them through patterning. The animals get location bias. And it's really funny because we have a red mule and a green mule. And they know when the red mule drives out and I yell for them, the cows all come running. When my husband drives out there in the green mule, they just kind of watch him drive by because he never brings them corn. So they can differentiate between the two. It makes him sound like he's out doing other Farmer Joe stuff. So like today was like cutting a hole in the pond with a chainsaw so the cows could drink, right? But he was not taking them corn. Now, whereas I show up and the cows I have bulls who get out. There's actually a video out on the K9Sensus YouTube channel talking about location bias. And I can pull up right next to the middle of a pasture. The bulls are out of their lot, like a quarter of a mile away, and they will run past me to get back to where they are fed every day, because that's where they think they get fed. So that's where I feed them. And they're like, oh, and so they put themselves away. It's kind of fantastic.
I saw that video. That was amazing.
Yeah. And the chickens are that way that, everything kind of knows actually anywhere between 2 and 4 o'clock every day is chore time. And so there's this whole migration of the animals to certain locations in the farm because they know that's where they're going to get fed. And we feed them strategically to help with husbandry.
Okay. You said the animals. I've heard chickens. I've heard cows. What about my favorites?
The mini donkeys.
Yay, yeah.
Yes.
Do tell.
I have about 33 mini donkeys. They're all registered, and people ask why mini donkeys, and the answer is because they make me happy. They are nothing but pure. I don't feel like I have to train them, although someday I want to train them to drive. And I want to be able to show them, but with the way my life currently is at, it's probably not anytime soon. And I can go out and sit with the mini donkeys, and they are some of the most peaceful animals on the planet. And they're very smart. So I also have goats, some Nubians. So I kind of went the whole, I have raised labs. So I've got the floppy ears, and I went doubled down on the Nubian goats. So I have super floppy ears there. And then I've got the one pointy ear dog, Niko. And then I went double down on the pointy ears with the donkeys. So
yeah. You're all about the ears.
And the cows are kind of in between. So it doesn't really matter.
Oh my gosh.
So funny. That's so funny.
So you did kind of talk about balancing all the things, and you were saying that there's a lot going on. So already you have all of that, and then you talked about all the different narcotics and bomb, and my goodness, like how are you balancing all of this?
I don't, because this whole work-life balance thing, so doesn't work. So I have started looking at my entire life as a cyclical pattern. And my scheduling for seminars and instruction and when I do particular work happens kind of at the circadian rhythm of the farm. You will see April, I don't offer any seminars because we're switching from winter management to summer and spring management for the farm. I've got to move everything around for breeding, foaling, calving, kidding, whatever we have going on. And then the other thing has to do with when the busy times tend to go. Now, the cadaver works is sort of this always constant thrum underneath because that's really depends on when bad people do bad things or we have catastrophic disaster since I'm on a FEMA team. So that kind of has its own thing. But since the private contracting work that I do for the narcotics and explosives, primarily what we do is summertime work. So the dogs get to go on a little tiny vacation during the winter where they just be dogs. And then because of how I train, I can just pick them up and kind of knock off the rust and we go back to work and it's fine.
So this winter isn't much of a sit back and kind of relax kind of winter because you've got a few little ones.
Yeah.
Right now, right?
Because I am not the brightest bulb in the box.
No, you are.
So, yeah.
Glutton for punishment, though.
Yeah, glutton for punishment. So I've got 2 puppies right now. They're 16 weeks, which is different than 4 months because of the weird calendar thing. But they're just turning 16 weeks old, and we've already started our detection training. They're 2 sisters, and they couldn't learn more differently than if I had gone to 2 completely different litters. It's just amazing to watch the maturity level, and one is through the roof. The other one is she's just like, she was very needy today. She's like, Mommy, I just want to sit in your lap and cuddles. So working through with both of them to either be narcotics, explosives, or maybe do hunt tests because, I need one more thing to do. So, and then I'm picking up another one in March because that's,
but you're forgetting to mention, not only are you raising 2 puppies, but you're raising them very publicly.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
I have a little Facebook group right now where I post all of the good, the bad, and the ugly well, I'm training every day, and each puppy gets trained. I'm doing one day, one the next day. So each puppy gets like 3 or 4 sessions every day, but they both get to play every day. And so I record all of those sessions, and depending on what kind of epiphany or something comes through, I post them in a Facebook group. I have a private Facebook group that people can watch me train and watch the evolution of these puppies. So it's interesting. I have to overcome a whole lot of my personal desire to be perfect and to only put out the perfect stuff, because that's the image that you try and portray to the world is, well, every training session I have, I'm brilliant. right.
With your robot dog.
Right. Yeah. And everything goes super swimmingly well. And sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, that was like the ugliest crashing and burning ever.
Can I delete this session? No.
Yeah. And then the interesting thing is sometimes you go back and watch it and you're like, okay, that was like not horribly tragic. It was sort of tragic, but the dog learned a lot. I learned a lot about what the dog learned, and we're good. So that's the hard part about doing it very publicly. And sometimes you don't get to put that perfect face out there.
So I've done a kind of a public training thing with the box smashing, actually. And what I found was that it really forced me to really, really think about my sessions and my increases in criteria. Are you finding that sort of thing is happening? Like, I know it's like really valuable for those of us in the Facebook group, and it's awesome to watch these videos, but
love it. Yeah.
What are you getting out of it? Like,
probably the first and foremost thing that I'm getting out of it is that my training sessions are like way too long. These poor little puppies, and I look at, it's one of those things where I balance oh my God, this is like a 15-minute training session with my 12-week-old puppy. But what I call a training session is from the moment we hit the floor together until I say that'll do, scatter, and the puppy's like, oh, okay, I can eat treats off the floor, right? And then we still have okay, let's go back to the crate. And it might encompass everything from, we're doing a little bit of play work, we're doing recall work, we're doing sits and stare work, we're doing all of this stuff. But sometimes I look back at these training sessions and I upload them and they're 7 minutes long. And I'm like, I kept the attention of a 15-week-old puppy for 7 minutes.
That's pretty good.
Look at me go. Right? And then I'm like, okay, I should really not do it that long.
Yeah.
But, some of it's also, we're snuggling on the floor and I'm scratching in their belly. So it's okay.
You've also been pretty public, and you've shared a lot through K9Sensus, and that's where I've learned so much with your Sharing Tuesdays, and you've started so many thoughtful conversations. So how is that experience? How are you framing that to try to help people? Because it seems like that's what the whole group is about, is helping handlers and trainers.
Yeah, the K9Sensus Trainers group actually evolved. Its very, very first iteration, it was actually called the Knowledge Vampires. Which sounds really funny, right? But
that kind of sucks.
I know. But it was set up very specifically because I would have people come up and train with me. Oh my God, and that's been like, 10, 15 years ago that people started coming to my house. Not this one, a different one. Or I would go out and do seminars. And they would always have so many questions. I remember sitting at the point when I went and got my nails done, which I don't do anymore, because I live on a farm.
Okay, and all I can hear you now is farm hair, don't care.
Yeah, no kidding. And so I was sitting there. It was after a weekend of having 10 people at my house. We're training search dogs. And I'm sitting at the nail salon getting my nails done, falling asleep in the chair. literally, I did I had my nails out, my hands out. I'm sitting there, the guy's doing it. And all of a sudden you do that whole jerky thing. And he just looked at me because I think he thought he'd might hurt me. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm falling asleep.
Did you have like a stripe of nail polish, like,
Like, oh my God. And because people had all these questions and, Facebook was really young then. It was one of those things. I set up the group as very truthfully a place where all of these people who came to train, because I felt it was really, really incredibly important to create a safe learning environment that people could be in this group. They could ask questions and people wouldn't tell them they're stupid or laugh at them because they were asking these questions. And most of all, everybody was kind in the group. And so that was actually the first iteration of the K9Sensus training group, was the fact that it is called the knowledge vampires, because I felt everybody would come and suck all the knowledge out of my head. Or at least they tried. And which is fine.
The whole cadaver handler thing, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. And so and so I when I changed it and kind of changed the format, that's why the rules are written the way the rules are written, is because I still want it to be a safe learning environment for everybody who is in the group. So and me doing posts in that group, they're meant to be thought-provoking pieces. And so whether or not you agree with them or not is not really the point. The whole point is I made you think. So that's the whole purpose behind kind of the group.
I want to add to that safety piece, because that was what really made me feel like I belong. Like we kind of talked about having a kind of a safety tribe kind of thing when I first took your class back in February. And not even a year ago, I guess.
Well, it'd be about March, I think, was a year. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that's what really set you apart as an instructor and creating this environment for myself was that safety piece, because it was a place to be able to share ideas. And you don't really get that a lot, or at least maybe I'm in the wrong Facebook groups.
Right. Well, and it's really interesting because I am a certified executive coach. And one of the things that was very much front and center during our coaching school, the coaching school that I went through, is that you can't help somebody unless you have created a safe environment for them. And unless they feel safe, they can't learn, they can't explore who they need to be, they can't ask questions, they can't do all of these other things. Crystal, as a teacher, you know this, when your kids don't feel safe, it's really hard for them to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of those things that in almost all of our class descriptions, especially our face-to-face stuff, you see that that's front and center, that we strive to meet teams at their level and create a safe learning environment. Because I don't play gotcha ever. That's not the purpose. Dog training's hard enough and adulting's hard enough. We don't need to make it any harder. So, yeah.
But that's where you bring in the kindness and the collaboration, though, too. And that's what's so successful about what you've built there. So I think, Stacy, do you want to ask about collaboration?
Yeah, I did. It's kind of, this whole, K9Sensus is really kind of, built up over time. Right. And looking forward to this year, I know you're doing a whole lot of things that are just really kind of collaborating in areas, or actually even last year also, right? That really touched on in different areas other than the areas that you usually work in, right? So you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. One of my very favorite quotes that I have actually posted, it has something, I can't remember exactly who quoted it, but it's, we should march in a way that others want to march with us. And so one of the things that I have learned as I've gone on this big, huge, long dog training journey that I'm on is that some of the most valuable information I don't learn in my own circle. Last year, I now have some phenomenal labs sitting in my house And I was like, I'd really love to learn how to do hunt tests because there's all of these little natural balls of genetics sitting in my house. I want to learn. So K9Sensus hosted a hunting Tim Springer. Fabulous. Learned a lot from him. And he came down and spent a weekend with us. And last year, this coming year, not only are we doing a fabulous training at Muscatatuck in Indiana, but I've invited Stacy and a couple of nosework people to come along. They're going to help and be able to see what the cadaver dog people do.
I'm super excited about, by the way. So.
It's going to be a blast. We're sold out. We have a waiting list,
epic.
Right?
So epic. That's the word. Epic.
Epic. Yeah. I mean, it's already sold out. It's in May. I've got a waiting list going. If I get enough people on the waiting list, we'll add another section. But it's a lot of fun.
Plug, tell your friends.
No kidding.
I like
well,
it.
I haven't even, I don't know if I want to add another section because I'm like, oh my gosh, then another instructor and blah, 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 blah. But
logistics.
Crystal, we've got the Inspire Summit for Protection Dog Sports for Women. That's coming to K9Sensus, and we're going to do bitey dog stuff, which is going to be super fantastic. I'm so excited. Yay. And then, all three of us are together in August for distraction camp because, oh my gosh, I've got cows, goats, miniature donkeys, and chickens and, the random raccoon running around. And so what a better opportunity for all sorts of people to come out and do all sorts of interesting things and work in a real life farm environment. Plus, when we're done training, you can go pet the mini donkeys.
Yes.
So I also am lucky enough to be able to go work and speak with law enforcement handlers and trainers. And so it's bringing in, all of these different kind of aspects. And I have my hit list of people that I still want to go train with because I'm working through the Scandinavian Working Dog Institute's Master Canine Trainer program right now, which is phenomenal, and have learned so much more on progression plans and details and things of that nature. So yeah, the collaboration, and that's why doing this particular podcast was really super interesting for me, is because we all come from such different backgrounds that we actually complement each other quite well and can bring in different viewpoints at the same time and help move the industry in a new direction or forward. Maybe not in a new direction, but at least we're having different conversations.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Such an important piece for all of us.
It really is. So instead of like the, this versus that, it's like the commonalities. It's the how do we help each other? It's
right. Well, and it's been really interesting. I've spent a lot of time thinking about the whole, nose work. Well, we don't have to have a trained final response, and the professional, whether you're a professional volunteer being a search and rescue person or you're a professional doing detection work, that's like, no, I have to have a trained final response. Well, everybody needs to know how to read change of behavior. And, as you get in higher levels and you do more repetitions as a nose work competitor, just by reinforcing a certain sequence of behaviors, you're training a trained final response, whether or not you're actually putting a sit and stare on it anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where I appreciate our kind of relationship and collaboration too, as we all kind of have our lanes. And so you talked about reading the body language, that's kind of my thing with the play and the obedience, and then tying over to what we all have with our detection dogs. It's such a great communication tool we have in relationship between the three of us.
Right. Absolutely. And, and I'll be honest, there are certain things that I can't teach as efficiently as the other two of you. And I'm okay with that. I don't need to be good
here, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to really learning a lot from both of you. So
absolutely.
Yeah. I think what happens is we kind of get into, there's a risk. And I think this probably happens on both, on all sides of the spectrum, right? So on the sports side where I am, there's a real risk of being so insular that you only listen to other sport people.
Right.
And it's just, there's, kind of ways of doing things. And it's kind of like, well, this is the way we do it. Right.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't get those outside ideas, you stagnate. Right.
And absolutely. Well, in my previous world, I was in, I don't know if it was Fortune 100, for at least Fortune 500 company. Before that, I was in academia. Because we've always done it that way was like a legitimate reason to not change.
Yeah.
And so I think that became so frustrating for me that it's one of the ways that I'm like, can we do this better? Or can we do this differently that it's more effective? Right. And so I'm very, very interested in always having very efficient and effective ways of training, because at the end of the day, in my world, training costs money. Time is money. And, getting a dog trained and up and out the door, or trained and up so I can use it to work, it costs me money to do that. So I want to be as efficient and effective as possible in my training. And typically training puppies in the middle of winter is awesome because then I don't have to go outside.
So I feel like I've kind of failed one of my favorite pointy-eared dogs. Why have we not talked about Niko yet?
Because Niko is like his own episode. I swear, his own episode. So yeah, Niko is my Dutch Shepherd, who's my female level cadaver dog, and he is absolutely wicked smart and has taught me a whole bunch about arousal levels and managing arousal levels in a dog. And also reminded me on a regular basis that the concept of be careful what you want your dog to learn, because it may not be the thing that they actually learn.
Is this where you want to talk about the catfish?
Oh, wow. You went there.
Yeah,
I did.
So for those that are listening, catfish bait is like the nemesis of most cadaver dog handlers or most detection dog handlers in general, because catfish bait is like really yummy stuff.
Well, for the dog.
For the dog and catfish, obviously.
I mean, I don't know if you're speaking from experience.
Yeah.
Or is this by proxy? Like,
Well, it's like chicken blood and other icky stuff.
That's gross. Yeah.
It is. And so through some miscommunication, I was actually at a training told that it was okay to reward Niko on catfish bait. And so it's now a regular portion of our training every single time that catfish bait is out there. And I'm happy to report that he is no longer alerting on catfish bait, but it still gets documented and logged. Because that's what I have to do, because that's part of being a good trainer. So it's interesting because you start looking at things like having really good training partners is really hard sometimes. And you guys are awesome training partners because we can have like really awesome training conversations. And then I think about it as I'm driving or doing chores or something else, and then I can implement it into my training. So having that little training collaborative where you can actually get people helping you think outside of your box, because you may need that in order to solve the problem that you're currently having.
What brought you from corporate America to Niko? Like, how does that happen to one person?
So it was kind of this weird long evolution, right? That I didn't have a choice in the end. So I started the precursor to the K9Sensus Foundation back in 2006. And it was called the Paws of Life Foundation. After the Jaws of Life, it was Paws of Life. And the mission hasn't changed, which is to provide training and education for canine handlers. And no matter kind of what discipline or what certification or any of those things. The K9Sensus Foundation followed me through 3 jobs, and always was kind of this little side hustle thing that I did, right? And then my last corporate America job, when I was working for this really Fortune 500, I think it might be a Fortune 100 company. Well, two Fortune 500 companies merged. And in that merger, there's lots of ebbing and flowing, and you're moving here, you're moving there. And let's just put it this way. They decided they no longer needed me. And what was my job description moved to Indianapolis. And I was like, okay, I got 700 acres out in the middle of Iowa and a fantastic husband. I'm good. Thanks.
There's that package we talked about.
Right. Exactly.
Can someone give me a package? Come on.
Right. I won the husband lottery, so I'm good. So I actually ended up having to go through a whole process of re-envisioning the foundation. What was the foundation going to do? How did I fit into, oh my gosh, we started a freezer beef program. I had 5 other things that I all kind of started and just have recently started plucking or pinging them off my plate. I'm making like little flicky noises to get them off my plate, because what the foundation is now doing, what the puppies are now doing, and what they're going to grow into that's my future. That's where I'm going. And collaborating with more people and doing more fun stuff is kind of where it's all going.
That is fun.
Floppy ears. Come on, Stacy. You have not asked anything about the labs, and you are the lab person. Come on now. Oh, I guess you asked about the puppies, but what about the girls?
Yeah, like Flair and Ember. And tell us about that.
So Flair and Ember are narcotics dogs.
Because labs rock. They just do. Labs rock.
Well, and I am one of those people that I like labs. Don't really care if they're British or American. I don't really care. I know, right? Right?
Right.
Now.
A good dog is a good dog, right?
Well, the only thing I have to say, and I will probably have some people not like me, I like the field line labs. I don't care if they're American or English, but they have to be working.
Agree.
Why would people not like you for that?
Because you have the show line labs, which are like really good rugs.
Well, you know what? The thing is, what I love about a lab, right, is there is a lab for everybody.
That's very true.
Right?
Unless
there's so much variety in the breed.
Right.
If you want whatever you want in a dog, you're going to get in a lab.
Yes.
Just at certain, you just have to get the right lab.
Right. Well, and I've got labs right now. Well, okay. All of my labs come from hunting and hunt test field trial lines. I don't have any service dog lines or show line labs. But I will also say that one of my puppies is about as close to a Dutch Shepherd as I can get and still have floppy ears. And my English lab my British lab. She is as close to a pointy ear. She actually has to live with a pointy ear because she's too obnoxious for the other labs. Wow. So she has to live with the Dutch Shepherd so that he can put her in her place. So yeah.
Well, a hunting line lab is actually a pretty serious dog. Like, I think sometimes people kind of picture lab and they're not picturing, either hunting or working bred Labradors.
I would agree.
Yeah. Even genetically, like they're just like even different pools, like genetic pools,
Right. And I pity the fool who would have one of my working line labs, right? My dogs get run 2 to 3 miles 3 or 4 times a week.
Yep.
And plus training on top of that.
Yeah.
And Niko is a lot of the reason that for a lot of the running, because it's almost like you can see his skin start to twitch. He doesn't get out and run. But Ember is the same way. And Flair's just getting ready to turn 2. And she went from this nice, cute, cuddly little puppy, although she still has a fantastic off switch, but she is now all Mach 5 all the time. And I just am like, where did you come from?
But was it? Now I noticed with my girls that it was at a certain age that all of a sudden their drive like really kicked in. And I mean, they were always kind of high drive as a younger dog, but all of a sudden it went vroom, drive, right? It was.
Yeah. And
do you see that with your dogs?
Absolutely. Well, and I think one of the things that we forget about, everybody always pushes so hard for their puppies to be up and going and up and going. And oh my gosh, we need this dog to do X, Y, and Z. If you look at a lot of the green dog programs that they do for the detection dogs, they're testing dogs at a year. But even from when you start doing temperament testing, most of your dogs don't fully mature until they're 2 or 3 years old. And what I noticed with Ember and Flair, both came kind of full into all of that drive at about 18 months.
Yep.
And now it's just sort of hang for the ride because, wow, I better have all that foundation on that dog before then, because otherwise I might have a hot mess.
So you're giving me 7 months of hope then. I need 7 months to get Radish.
Yes.
Thanks for the heads up.
Well, and I was looking at my training plan not too long ago. Dash, who's my explosives detection dog, he is currently 5. And I have had a puppy every year for the last 5 years. And which makes me exhausted. And I can't imagine how many towels I've washed in that time. But I also think about how even my evolution as a trainer has changed from when I got Dash as a puppy, who was supposed to be a female level disaster dog, but is now this phenomenal explosives dog who I can take to music festivals and the amusement park and will work and do his job and pretty much ignore people. And
he's a cool dog. He's a really cool dog.
Yeah. He's just like a little dude, Mr. Happy, right?
Oh, the biggest smile. Oh my gosh. Love his smile.
You know what really impressed me when I came out to train with you, Robin? If you remember, Brava was in season, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And when we work with sport people, all of a sudden, like if your dog's in season, they want you at the end of the run order with the panties. This is what happened, right? We go there. I'm like, I'm like, she's in season. Is that okay? She's like, yeah. So Robin wanted me to run Brava before
First.
Dash.
Yes.
Without her panties on.
Yes.
So naked, right?
Yes.
Naked Brava running in full, regalia, right? Prior to Dash. Now, the really cool part was also when we trained, we had all of our odors out, right? So we had my sport odors out and we had all of your odors out. And it was just really cool to see how the dogs could like work their own odor, even with other target odor. But, and you had, Dash had to deal with Brava odor.
Right. Which actually was really excited for me because he did really well. I was like,
you did great. You did great. That was amazing.
Yeah. And when I have this kind of weird conflux of dogs, there are days where I take all 3 odors and, I set out all of my odors, and it's expected that all of my dogs automatically ignore all of the rest of the odors that are out.
Yeah.
It's an interesting concept. And I also, because I come from the search and rescue world, I tend to run my narcotics and explosives dogs more off-leash, independent working type of stuff than vehicle, on-leash stuff, which sometimes kind of bites me because the dogs are like, I'm stuck with a stupid human.
But it was actually really cool for me when I saw you handle. I'm like, you're somebody that like, it was a little bit more like from a nose work perspective. We tend to be pretty dog driven, from our handling. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is really great because there's so much I can learn from what you're doing because it's not so different.
Right.
Than what we're doing.
Yeah.
And that was really cool for me. And I'm like, oh, wow.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It was, and they were setting awesome hides and anyway, that was pretty cool.
Well, that's kind of fun because we set lots of cadaver dog hides and stuff when we do stuff. So I kind of already know how odor's going to move.
Yeah.
It looks brilliant.
Yeah.
No, that's actually, yeah, sure. I'm brilliant. No, that was lots of practice.
But you know your scent theory. You teach it. You have it. Like that's what you're kind of known for, really, I would say. Is that fair?
Yeah, it is. And you actually have to realize that was kind of grudging because I'm like, really? Okay. But it's one of those things that I started evaluating search and rescue dogs back in like 2012. So that's 10 years ago, maybe a little before that. I think.
And what organization is that? Is that ARI or FEMA? Or?
Well, I'm an evaluator for like 4 different organizations, 5 if you include FEMA. And ARI is the one that I'm the K9 branch manager of. And so part of what I'm doing while I'm doing search dog evaluations is, especially if you're doing an area search dog, that's 160 acres, 2 subjects, 4 hours. So I've placed 2 people out in the middle of 160 acres. And now I'm pretty much following a handler and their dog around for the next 4 hours.
On your mule or just walking around?
Oh, no, walking.
Walking. Yeah. So tell me about your knees.
Tell me about my knees. This was before my knees were really trashed.
Yeah, that'll definitely close your exercise rings.
Yeah.
Right. And so trust me, this is before exercise rings.
So none of those steps counted.
I was like, oh man, you did all that and you didn't even have a Fitbit on.
Right.
I didn't.
None of those steps count.
So
I am not going to stand up or walk around if I'm not getting credit for it.
Oh, same.
Darn it.
So I would have my GPS out there because I would always mark where I'd put the subjects. And I could actually watch where the dogs would hit odor and the handlers couldn't recognize it.
Wow.
And so, or if they did, they're like, oh, my dog's got something. Well, I don't know. We're going to walk off over here. So it really got me thinking about this whole scent theory thing and sort of evolved. I talked at a couple of conferences and people were like, physics, scent theory? What are you talking about? Why? How does that have to do with anything? So, that evolved into releasing some illustrations, which are now actually in the brand new book that's out that was edited by Lauren DeGrief and Craig Schultz called Dogs, the Original Biosensors.
I can't wait to read that book. It just came out, right? Like
it just came out. It just came out. And I've got a couple other series. We just did, we also have a vehicle series, which we sent smoke bombs off in vehicles. And that was kind of fun.
That's cool. That's cool. On the insides or the outsides?
Insides.
Woo!
Yeah.
Wow.
So you could see how smoke permeates out all of the cracks and everything. We're finishing up the interiors and working on a series for water, for cool. how odor moves in water, specifically for human remains detection dogs. So
that is really cool.
And how did you end up in the different committees that you're in? Because that's like a whole other side of Robin. And I'll tell you, the last time that I was there visiting, I was in total awe of how you handled meetings. And it was like, you're not just a part of it, but you're a huge part of all of these things. It's not just a person. I just put my name on a committee. Like you're doing it.
And she's not just saying that. She's actually said that to me, by the way. So that's not even just hey, I gotta like put this in a podcast. Like that's like real.
Yeah. I was so impressed. I mean, I haven't experienced something like that. I just sat there in awe, and I know I hit it, but that's what I felt. I was like, this is how things go.
Well, so I sit on the ASB Dogs and Sensors Committee as a subject matter expert, and we are the group that is helping put together the standards for the detection dog profession or industry. And I'll be honest, there's a whole bunch of them. There's like cadaver dog work and narcotics, explosives, all this stuff. For a lot of them, I'm there to proofread. were the people who were like, oh my gosh, no, you left the comma out here. For some of the other ones, I'm actually helping. I work on the working group that then reports up to the Dogs and Sensors Committee, and we're actually writing the standard. And so it takes, it's committee work. So you have lots of people on a committee.
So it goes really fast, right?
Yeah. And, it is a government thing. So things don't move all that quickly.
It felt like you got a lot done, though. I mean,
we did.
Smooth.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot done. There's a lot more that needs to be done. And it's fun, interesting work, and hoping we're moving the industry forward, or whichever detection dog group that we're working with, we're moving that forward to be better trainers, better handlers, better dogs. So it's a lot of fun.
So I want to take it back to kind of a family type question. How would your parents describe what you do for a living?
It depends on what day. Right? So
what do you mean what day? You mean what minute of that day?
Like, is it a cow day or is it a dog day, right?
Right. Is it a dog day or a farm day?
Right.
Now
let's talk dogs.
Dogs. My dad, when he was alive, would always end up asking me, it's like one of the things. So how's dogging going? Or are you off doing dog stuff? It didn't matter what it was. It was always, are you doing dog stuff? Yep. I'm in New Jersey doing dog stuff, or I'm in California doing dog stuff. That's his whole, and that's how he encompassed all of that portion of my life, because he never really got it. And it's okay. I don't think my mom gets it either. They're like, oh, how are the cows?
I don't think anybody really gets it. It's like, it's a thing. Right?
Mom and dad were always like, they were like, oh, dog stuff's going good. Great. Okay. How are the cows? Do they can relate to the cows? Right.
So did they not have dogs then, or how does that work?
They had farm dogs.
Okay.
I mean, I grew up with actually, my high school career was spent training horses. And my sister actually was the one who got me started in dogs, because she got a border collie. And I looked at her and said, if I can find a sable border collie, male border collie, I'll actually get a dog. And wouldn't you know, within like 48 hours, she sent me a link. So that's how I ended up with my very first dog. Otherwise, at that point, I was going through my MBA program at Iowa State and was just like, oh, I guess I kind of need a new project. So I got a dog.
There you go. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever in your life just had one thing going, or have you always had multiple projects?
Is that a trick question?
That is a trick question.
I was trying to get an awkward pause. I win.
Yeah, you did. You're like, what? That is definitely rhetorical, right?
The answer is I've always had at least 2 or 3 things, because college was typically I had classes, I had a job, and I did extracurricular activities like martial arts or whatever. So yeah.
Well, that's a side of Robin I don't know about.
Yeah. I did taekwondo and hapkido in college.
You learn a new thing every day, right?
That was college.
So, speaking of projects, then, if I could remove all barriers, all constraints, what project would you do now or in the future?
You mean, so if I could hire staff?
Yes, there's no barriers, no constraints. It's your dream. What happens?
I would actually spend a whole bunch of time putting out classes in the Working Canine Handler Academy, having the time to actually sit down and appropriate people to help me do really good pedagogy, however you say that word. Plan out classes really, really well. Right?
Curriculum coordinators.
Yes. Curriculum coordinators. So I could actually get some of this stuff, some things out there so that people can train better dogs or train better. I just want them to be better. And
so your passion is education then?
Yes. Education and better relationships with your dogs. Because I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think that's why we're all such good friends right there. That answer.
It is.
Oh, without a doubt.
All three of us education, all three of us relationship based. Yeah.
And better.
Yeah, ding, ding, ding. All the boxes, right?
Yeah. Check.
So if you wanted the listeners to come away with one thing from this episode, what would it be?
I think that one of the things that I want people, besides all the whole, yay, follow us, we're cool, right? Is that we are going to be able to provide some really interesting, thought-provoking ways to look at things and have a whole bunch of fun doing it. And it's okay. It's okay to do something or try something a little bit different. That, and we're all kind of goofy, but
speak for yourself.
Okay, I'm goofy. I will admit it. It's okay.
All right, I'm goofy too.
Okay,
Yeah.
Kind of a geek.
Yeah. So I think that's
I look forward to all the laughter.
I know, me too.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. This was so great spending the time with you. How long was that? Almost an hour now. That's pretty exciting.
Awesome.
You can find me at K9Sensus.org or go out to the Canine Detection Collaborative Facebook page where you can find all three of our socials, or go to K9 Detection Collaborative.com. That's K9 Detection Collaborative.com. And you'll find all of our information, plus some of the cool stuff that we're giving away, plus any of the other rest of the stuff that we decide to do kind of spur of the moment, like another webinar or something. And we're so glad that you guys spent some time with us.
Canine Detection Collaborative.
We appreciate the time you spend with us. If you liked this episode, not only should you follow us so you don't miss the next one, but please also rate and review us in your favorite podcast app. For info on collaborating with us, go to K9DetectionCollaborative.com. That's K9 DetectionCollaborative.com, where you can find our socials and pick up our latest monthly freebie. Join us again to talk training in the next episode.